Okay, welcome back to Stay Home and Draw. The purpose of this is to encourage people to stay home, first of all, during this crazy pandemic we're experiencing, and also to do something a little creative with that time and give you guys kind of a creative break in your day. So I'm really happy that you guys are here joining us today. We're going to be learning how to do a really cool screen print effect in Procreate. So this drawing that we're going to be doing today is inspired by the Making Art Everyday project. And this is a challenge or project that I run, and we've been running it since 2019, like the beginning of 2019, so well over a year now. And it's drawing prompts, tutorials and resources, motivation, and a really awesome supportive community, all with the goal of helping you overcome your creative fears and establish a daily art making practice. And there's always a theme every month, and this month's theme is weather plus art styles. So today's prompt is rain, and that's going to be the inspiration for our drawing. And the additional challenge, if you want, we always have like this thing we call the plus, which you can like challenge yourself to do, is to incorporate different art styles into your work. And I wrote this article called 30 Art Styles to Try and Procreate. You can find it at bardotbrush.com/tutorials. I can pull it up. Jeff will probably throw up a link. This is my website, Bardot Brush. If you go to tutorials here, there it is right there. And I actually wanted to show you guys, I made, I don't know why that picture's not coming up, but I made a live tutorial library. So all the past live drawings and classes that we've done for the past month or so, they're all in one place now. So you can access them and check them all out and go back and watch the ones you missed. So I wanted to show you guys that first of all, but I'll go back to this article. There it is. 30 art styles to try and procreate. And so there's 30 different art styles. There's a little table of contents that you can use to jump to the different ones, but they each have like a description, some links to additional resources, a Pinterest board full of inspirational images, and then some ways to kind of incorporate that art style into your work in Procreate. And one of the styles is screen printing, screen print style art. And so that's this. I haven't quite filled it all out yet, but we'll visit the Pinterest board. There we go. Actually, it didn't go straight to it, so let me find it. Here it is. So this is my Bardot brush. I'll just show it to you really quick. Bardot brush Pinterest account. And it's basically full of like reference photos and other things to inspire you. So it's really, if you want to follow along and check it out, you can. But I usually use it to make you guys boards to help you as you're kind of doing these art challenges. So this is kind of the screen print style. Most of these are screen prints. And screen print, I kind of use that term, broadly, but it's any type of printmaking, where you're kind of using one color of ink, and printed, like physically printed, and usually they overlap and you kind of get these cool effects where the two colors overlap. So print press ink is transparent. So that's why you get these really cool, like other colors where the two colors overlap. And that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on today, is like the way that colors interact, some of these cool press printing textures that you get, and it's going to be really fun. So I wanted to show you really quick some work that I have done, like actual physical prints from Procreate drawings. So you can see a little preview on the side here, but I'll show you. Okay, so this is a print that I did, and this is actually letterpress. So it's printed on a letterpress, which is similar concept. It uses 3 colors of ink to make all of these different colors, which I think there's 7 colors total, but only 3 colors of ink. And let me show you what that looks like. So this is 2 of the colors, yellow and pink, and where they overlap, you get this red color. And this is blue and pink, and where they overlap, you get this purple color, which is really, the way the colors overlap is just super interesting. And then I also have the yellow and blue, and where they overlap, it makes green. No surprise there. And so those are the 3 different colors, and when they all come together, pink, yellow, and blue, you get all this, where all 3 colors overlap, you kind of get this brownish color. So it was 3 different layers, if you want to relate to Procreate, all on top of each other. to make this cool like 7-color artwork. And I've got a couple others that I've done. This is another letterpress print. This is just 2 colors, yellow and pink, and where they overlap, it makes orange. And this one is a little messed up, which I think is cool to see because you can see where they don't quite line up that well. And they would call this being off register is the term. And you kind of see where the yellow like pokes out in the pink and they're separate. So that's kind of interesting. And then here's one more, and this is yellow. Was this 2 colors or 3? I can't even remember now.
Which one? What prints?
Oh, it was the yellow, blue, and green.
Yep.
So we had this blue color, this yellow color, and then this lighter green color.
That one was fun to print.
Yeah, this one. Jeff actually printed all these with a friend on his letterpress printing machine. We even used to have a letterpress machine a long time ago, but they're a lot of work, you guys, let me tell you. But all of these that I showed you were all drawn in Procreate. So where the yellow and the blue overlapped, it kind of makes, I forget how this one's also, it's been a while since I did this one, but that's how it works. And I can make more colors by layering colors on top of each other. So that is what we're gonna be doing today. So let's go into Procreate, and I'm going to start a new canvas. Oh, and I forgot I had this up to show you. So for the little trailer, I call it Cosmic Caravan was the title of that piece. This is the Procreate file for that, and I can show you the layers. Well, first of all, I just had a sketch of kind of the colors I knew I had to work with, and before I made my final artwork. And this will probably make more sense as we work and you guys see what I'm doing. But so if I turn off the pink layer, you can see just the yellow and blue. If I turn off the yellow layer, you can see just the pink and blue. And if I turn off the blue layer, you can see just the pink and the yellow. And then all 3 together are that. So you're gonna learn how to do that today. All right, so today I'm gonna use a square shaped canvas. I'm gonna use 5,000 by 5,000 pixels. If you have a smaller or less powerful iPad, 3,000 pixels probably fine too. So before we get started, do we have any pressing questions about anything I talked about so far? Jeff?
Well, it'll take a second and we'll see if we get a couple questions.
Well, just wondering if anybody had been saying anything, so. I will drink my tea. This is gonna be really fun, you guys. This will be cool. Okay, well, maybe we don't have any questions yet, so we'll just go ahead and jump in. If you have questions about anything that I'm doing here, feel free to chat them in and ask, and Jeff can, usually we have some lulls and we can answer some questions, or if you're confused, I can help explain things better. And then at the end, if you have something maybe that's like not as related to what I'm doing, or just general Procreate questions, we can answer some of those as well. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, it's really important to start with a color palette when you're doing this type of work, because when you're printing in this manner, you are limited by the amount of colors you can print with. I mean, you can print with many, many colors of ink, but it gets more expensive and more time consuming every color that you add. So a 2 or 3 color print is probably what you probably would aim for a maximum, but we're gonna do actually a 3 color print today. So to create your color palette, we're gonna create like like those color Venn diagrams. They might have a name, but I don't know what it is. So let's do this. We're gonna create 3 layers. So we'll have to click the plus. So now we have 3 layers, and we're gonna set all of the blend modes of these layers to multiply. And doing this is going to give us that transparency effect where the colors overlay over the top of each other and create new colors. So just to set multiply, you just hit N and then you change it to multiply. So we have all 3 layers set to multiply. That's going to be really important for this type of artwork. So I'll start with layer 1. And now I want to start with the 3 primary colors, which you might think are red, yellow, and blue, but they're not. They're actually cyan, yellow, and magenta. Those are going to be the more accurate primaries. I had a whole rant on Instagram about primary colors. That's another video for another day. So let's go ahead and make a little color chart of those 3 colors. So cyan is like this really bright, bright blue, kind of right in between like traditional blue and green. And then I'm just gonna go as saturated as possible. The brushes I'm gonna be using today, I decided to use from my Texturific bundle set. So that's 3 different sets. The Texturific liners, the shaders, and I'm not actually gonna be using the pastels today, just the liners and the shaders. And I'm gonna use the round grain liner. And this is just a really textured line art kind of brush. So if you don't have this set, just like a nice textured kind of line brush will probably do the job for you. And then I'm just gonna draw a circle and fill it in. And it, just in case this happens to you, well, let me do it one more time. Okay, so just in case this happens to you and you get these like weird white lines around the edge, you just need to adjust your color drop threshold, which is what I was doing a second ago. To do that, you just drag in the color, you don't let go, and then you turn, you see this blue line? You keep moving that way until it's as high up as you need to go to fill in. I probably need to do it one more time. And then if you go too far, color will just spill out everywhere. So make sure you go just low enough so that it fills in, okay? Hope that makes sense. Okay, so we've got our blue color, and each of the 3 colors are gonna be on their own layers, which is why I made 3 layers. So I'm gonna go to layer 2 now, and we'll do yellow. So we'll try to pick like the brightest yellow possible here. You can also go into your value sliders and pick like a pure yellow by just turning up red and green. So that's another way to get like a pure yellow. I'm not super worried about it being perfectly pure. And then we'll fill in that as well. And so you can already see where these 2 colors overlap, it's gonna make green. And now we're gonna do the last color. So we'll go to layer 3, and we're gonna get magenta, which is this color over here. The really like bright, somewhere between red and purple. Again, if you go over to your value sliders, it's when red and blue are turned all the way up and green is turned all the way down. So that's pure magenta. And we'll fill that in as well. So now we have a little color chart of these 3 primary colors and the colors that they create when they're mixed together, which are red, green, and blue.
Real quick, which brush are you using right now?
Yes, I was using the round grain liner from the Texturific liner set. But if you have like a nice textured brush with a nice textured edge that's pretty solid, that'll do well for this style of art. We're gonna be doing a lot of like color dropping for this, so. Okay, so when we're working with these 3 colors, now we can see we actually have 7 colors to work with. So we've got the cyan, yellow, magenta, and then we also have red, green, and blue. And then we have this kind of like muddy brownish color. So this is basically the color palette that we would be working with. So you can see all those different colors and the colors you have available to you when you're only limited to these 3 colors. So I hope that makes sense. Because what I'm gonna do next is actually, these are not the colors that I wanna work with for this piece. So I'm going to make some adjustments to these to create my own color palette that I wanna use for the artwork that I'm about to draw. So one way that you can do that is by going to the color, I'm gonna go to yellow. So I'm on the layer with yellow. And then I'm gonna go to adjustments menu, hue, saturation, brightness. And now I can fine tune this yellow to be more of the yellow that I want to use. I think the yellow, which I'm going to go for like a yellowy orange, is going to be one of the dominant colors of this piece. Like I have it, visualized and planned in my head and everything like that. So I'm just you can move the hue slider over. And as you do this, it's great because you also get to see how it affects these secondary colors that you're going to have as a part of your palette. So now if I chose this color, like this would be the palette, the 7 colors that I have to work with. But I think I'm gonna go a little warmer, maybe a little more saturated. I don't know, I wanna be a little more yellow. And I can even adjust the brightness if it's not bright enough. So I'm just kind of like fine tuning and getting a color that I wanna use for this drawing.
How did you get hue, saturation, brightness?
That was in the adjustments menu, which is the little magic wand, and you go to hue, saturation, brightness. So I'm just kind of fine tuning. I think that looks pretty good. I like this. I think I can use these colors here, but I am also gonna adjust these two colors, so those are gonna affect this. So let's keep going. So I'm happy with that orange. I'm gonna go over to, let's go to the cyan color. So I'm tapping on that layer. I'm going to adjustments again, the little magic wand, hue, saturation, brightness. And I kind of want it to be a little cooler, you know, something maybe, I don't know, brighter. Just kind of getting a blue, because blue is also like the next color that I know I want to have a good blue to use. And then I'm also double checking these secondary colors, making sure I'll be happy using those in my artwork as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's a little more cooler, a little darker. And then I kind of like the way that the magenta looks all on its own. I don't really think I'm gonna make any adjustments to that. So here's my color palette that I have to work with. It's a variation on just the basic primaries. I have the orange, the pink, and the cyan to use, as well as this kind of like purpley blue, a red, this kind of muted green, and if I want, I also have, where all three colors overlap, I have this like reddish, brownish, dark color. Okay, any questions about that? I know that was a lot of information. Is anybody popping in with questions yet? Yeah, feel free to throw up questions whenever you have them, and Jeff will kind of feed them to me when there's an opportunity. We doing okay? I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
All right, I'm going to continue then, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna take this little color chart that I made. I'm just gonna put it over to the side of my canvas so I have it to reference as I'm working on my art. So I'm going to select all three layers. So wipe to the right on each of them. So they're all selected, and then I'll hit group. I'll even close the group just so I can condense my space over there. And now that I have my group selected, I can hit the transform tool, and I can just move that over here out of the way. So I have it to reference, but it's like out of the way. I can also use it to use the little eyedropper, which I'll be doing. You guys will get to see that. Okay, so now we get to make the actual artwork. So the prompt for today is rain, and I saw a picture of like a cat that was wet, and I thought it'd be fun to draw like a cat getting rained on, and he's kind of sad looking. You don't have to make him sad if you want, but that's kind of what I'm going for here. So I'm going to choose just like a middle gray. I'm just going to use the same brush to do my sketch. Like, I think that's going to be fine. And then I'm going to create a new layer for the sketch. So I've got my group with the three colors, and then I've got a new layer now to put my sketch on. Okay, so here we go, drawing a cat. So I'm gonna draw kind of like a oval that's kind of tilted a little bit. So that's the body of my cat. Actually, I'm gonna use my pencil brush for the sketch. I'm more comfortable sketching with a pencil. So I'm going over to my pencil box set and going to Bardot pencil, but you can use something from like the Procreate sketching set as well. It feels more comfortable to me, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, that's better. So I'm gonna make kind of like a fat oval, like that. It's kind of like tilted. And then the head is kind of gonna be this like another oval shape, kind of like that. So that's the body, that's the head. We're gonna add some legs that kind of like taper together like that. So that's the outside of the legs, and then the inside of the legs will be kind of more parallel lines. And then the bottom of the feet. We're going for a very stylized cat. It's not gonna be like a realistic detailed cat. It's gonna be a cute little illustration. And then the other leg, so like the back leg would do maybe something like this. Maybe I'll make his foot a little bit bigger. So something like that for the back leg, really simple. And then a tail. So the tail, I kind of want to come down and around, and then come back up. So we've got the cat feet, and I can kind of erase these lines if I want to, these ones where they shouldn't be, where they overlap. But this is just a guide anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and then I'm also gonna erase this one too. Just gonna get rid of that. There we go, so it's less distracting. And so now I'm gonna add the face details. So his little ears, I think, should be kind of like, you know, downturned because he's sad. He's like a sad cat. So they kind of are like falling down. So I'm gonna draw him like that. And then let's draw his little like face. So a little triangle for the nose, one line down, and then this is where his little sad expression, kind of like little downturned mouth. If you wanted to draw a happy cat, you can. Maybe he likes getting rained on, but I'm gonna draw a sad cat, so. And then some eyes. And the way that I decided to draw the eyes and the nose, like these are all stylistic choices. You can draw, of course, draw them in your own way. But this is how I'm gonna do it. And then we've got his eyes. And then to really make him look sad, we're gonna add some little like eyebrows that are kind of like turned down like that. The more that you kind of exaggerate, the eyebrows really show a lot of emotion. So if I turn it down even more, it would look like more sad. And I made a really cool video on emotions. If you go to my people skills series, which is at bardotbrush.com/people, I did a really cool video about how to manipulate facial features to depict emotions. So that's a really cool video to check out. Because if we did the eyebrows a different way, he would look happy or mad, or, you know, just by doing the eyebrows. And then there's other things you can manipulate too. So other things I want to add are maybe some little kitty stripes here. Maybe we'll put some on his back. I'm just like trying to keep it pretty simple. And then maybe we'll do like his tail like that and some little paw kind of definition there. Something like that. Cool, I think that looks pretty good for the kitty. I'm just gonna scooch it over so it's a little bit more centered. So I just went to my transform tool and just scooched it over a little bit. And then I'm gonna add the cloud over his head.
And real quick, someone was asking, how high is the streamline turned up on your pencil, on your...
Good question. It's about 40%. So I'm not sure if that's how I built it to be or if I customized it, because sometimes I do further customize my own brushes than what I like have on my site. So, but it's set to 40%. Okay, and I'll do like a little cloud above him. And then we'll do some lines to do the rain. And I'll make them look like raindrops later. But for now, these little lines will do. All right, so yeah, I think that's pretty good for my sketch. I'm pretty happy with that. He looks very sad. So now I'm ready to start coloring this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is reduce the opacity of the sketch layer. So I'm just gonna go to the little N on that layer, turn down the opacity. I like to also set my sketches to multiply, so that way it'll always be dark no matter what other colors I have underneath it. And then I'm gonna create another layer right below the sketch. So I just tap that group so it would be below the sketch layer. You could like move it below if you wanted to. And now actually I need to create my 3 layers. So remember how we created 3 layers here? We have 3 colors that we're gonna be able to work with. So we're gonna separate this whole drawing into only 3 layers. But I promise it's not as intimidating as that might sound. So I've got my 3 layers now, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to set each of them to the multiply blend mode, just like we did with our little color chart here. So tap N, slide it over to multiply, and this is gonna make each layer of ink, you know, if you wanna put it in printing terms, transparent so that we can get these secondary colors where they overlap. Okay, so.
I just have to say this, everyone is loving a sad wet cat.
Good. I'm curious if any of you will give your cat other emotions, but maybe you know what? There's some sad stuff going on too. It's fine. Like, we don't always have to be happy. There's lots of sad emotions that people are probably processing right now, for sure. Okay, so now we're ready to start adding color. I'm gonna go back to that brush. It's in my Texturific liners, and it's called Round Grain Liner. So that's the one that I use to do a little color chart. And that's what I'm gonna use to do pretty much all of the like shapes and everything like that. So Round Grain Liner was the brush. And my cat is gonna be orange, so I'm gonna select this orange just by tapping and holding, And then I can, choose any of these colors. That's why it's nice to have this little color chart here. You can always go back and grab the color you want. And then I'm just gonna, I'm gonna turn down the size a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of draw these shapes and then fill them in with color drop.
And real quick, as you're starting to do this, can you just show us where we're at layers-wise again?
Yes.
Real quick as we're getting started.
So we have our color chart, which was that little group we made with these 3 colors, each on their own layer, each set to multiply, so that we can see where they overlap and the colors that they create. And then we have our sketch on top, and then we have our 3 other layers for the 3 colors of our actual artwork. And that's pretty much it for layers. We're not going to be adding any more layers to this drawing at all. So we just have those. So hopefully you got that. So right now I'm just on one of the 3 layers. This will be my orange layer. Maybe this one will be my blue, and this one will be my pink or cyan, magenta. Still hard to get over those like simple color terms. Use the right ones, but. All right, so now I'm just kind of like tracing over my sketch and filling it in with color drop. So that's what I'm doing now. And sometimes it's easier to complete a shape and then draw over it, which is kind of what I'm doing here. But I could like trace the whole outline of the whole thing and fill it in. I could do that as well, whatever way is easier for you. I'll add a little foot here. Fill that in, and then our kitty's little tail. And we'll fill that in. So we've got the whole shape of the cat all filled in with orange, all on one layer. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I'll do the cloud. So I'm gonna go to another layer now. So this will be my blue layer. If it's easy for you, you can label them like by tapping and hitting rename, but I think once they have color on them, it's easy enough to see. So I'm on another layer now. I'm gonna select the blue from over here. So I'm just, again, tapping and holding to select that blue color. And then I'm gonna draw my cloud. So I'm just kind of like drawing the outline of it. And then I'm gonna fill it in with color drop. Like that, easy. And now I'll even add the little raindrops as well. And for the raindrops, I'm kind of drawing in a raindrop shape. I'm kind of making all the rain kind of come into him, and that's just like a choice I decided to make. It seems like all the rain is like falling on him. It's making him extra sad. So what I'm gonna do with these raindrops, they kind of look kind of fat and round right now. I'm gonna use my eraser tool to go back and kind of make them more pointed, which I'll show you in just a sec. So I'm kind of using my sketch, just kind of winging it and adding in raindrops where I think they should go. So, any questions while I'm coloring in? Well, I'm almost done. I think you guys are doing great.
What's the streamline setting for this brush? People were just kind of
Yes, and if you want to check the streamline settings of your brush, you can tap on it and go to the stroke path section here. This one's set to 15%. And I think all these liners in this set are all set to 15%. So they have a little bit of streamline to them, but if you wanted to get a little messy, you still have that ability. So if for people that don't know what streamline is, if you turn this up, it will smooth out your lines as you draw them. So it can kind of help you get smoother lines, but it also, you don't get as many irregularities, which maybe sometimes you want, so. All right. So I've drawn all my raindrops, and now I'm going to erase with the same brush by tapping and holding the eraser. When I do that, it will select that same round grain liner to use as my eraser. So if you tap and hold, and now that means I can have the same texture when I go back and erase. So I'm just gonna erase the tops and make them kind of pointy, like a raindrop. Because it's really hard to draw like really pointy shapes in Procreate. So erasing is a really, really handy way to kind of get those really pointed corners and edges and things like that. I use eraser a lot to refine shapes and things like that. Any other questions? I'm erasing away here.
Well, someone's just asking, where are our children?
Where are my children? They're in the house with Jeff's mom. She's awesome, and she's in base. It's almost like she lives here, like the amount of isolation that she's in. Jeff does all her grocery shopping. She only comes here and her house, and she lives alone. So we're very lucky to have her to help out with the kids still, because most people don't have any help with childcare right now, which is really hard. So I'm going to do one more right here.
Yeah, we're very, very, very thankful
yeah.
for the support system, especially since, as you guys may know, we'll be taking a small break.
Yeah.
Somewhere in 3 to 5 weeks.
We have a baby on the way, you guys. It's coming mid-May. We're really excited and very anxious for him to come. So we'll be having a little bit of break from this kind of stuff. But we've got some stuff that'll be rolling out while we're on our self-imposed maternity leave. Yeah. Okay, so I've got my clouds, I've got my rain. I'm going to start adding some details to the cat. And so the color that I want to do, the stripes and things like that, I want to use this red color. So I'm not going to choose that color and just draw with the red. I'm actually going to choose the pink, and I'm going to put it on a new layer. So I'm going to my third layer. The order of them doesn't really matter if they're all set to multiply. I should mention that. So I've got the pink selected, and now anywhere where I draw over the orange, it's going to turn to this red color. So that's how I'm going to get that red color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace over, and I think it would look kind of cool to have the stripes kind of come off the top, and you can really see that it's anywhere where things don't quite overlap. It looks kind of cool. It has that kind of off-register look that I was telling you about, which is very characteristic of printing. I can tell you, like on this one, like it's not technically correct, and I know that Jeff and his friend like slaved to get everything to line up perfectly. But like it's actually kind of cool when it doesn't line up perfectly as well. So
slaved is an understatement, you guys, in what it takes to print letterpress at times. It is painstakingly tedious.
Yeah, it's a process. So if you're a fan of the process, like you would probably enjoy that. I like the outcomes. That's what I just told Jeff. I was like, I like the outcome of the whole thing. The process, I lose my patience.
And real quick, what is the process to take round grain liner and make that my eraser?
Oh, yes. So all you do is tap and hold. So I've got round grain here on my brush. Tap and hold your eraser, and it'll say erase with current brush. That's how you do it. So I'm also going to make his little nose that same red color. So again, I'm just using pink, and it's overlapping where the orange is, and it's making this red color. And then his little, like, mouth. His sad little mouth. And maybe his eyebrows as well. And now I'm going to add in some kind of, like, shading details to differentiate where his head finishes and, like, between the legs and everything like that. So to do that, I'll show you a fun little trick. And I'll come back to his eyes, don't worry. Or her. I don't know if it's a him or her. So I'm just going to draw kind of like a shape that is like reminiscent of a shadow. Like this. I don't know. Something like that. It's like a shadow. And I'll fill that in. And then I think that's pretty harsh for a shadow. It almost looks like a collar and not like, you know, a shadow that's under his face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase away to kind of give this more of a soft edge. So for that, I'm going to go to my eraser, and I'm going to choose kind of a textured brush to do that. I'm going into the Texturific Shader set. If you don't have this set, you can use a brush that kind of has some texture to it. And I'm going to choose, I already have it selected, the Fine Grain Shader. So again, that was my Texturific Shader set, Fine Grain Shader. If you don't have something like that, maybe check out, I don't know, organic, I don't know. You might have to play around a little and see if you can get kind of a similar look with one of the built-in brushes. But again, Fine Grain Shader as the eraser. That's important. And then I'm going to make the brush size smaller. A little bigger than that. And then I'm just going to erase away some of it to kind of give it this, I don't know, like a faded, like it fades off, kind of like almost like a gradient, just to make that look a little less harsh as a shadow. There we go. I showed you guys something similar in the like mid-century illustration where we used like a stipple brush to do something like this and give it this kind of cool shadow effect. And you can make it, you know, you could go around and take more off if you want. It's totally up to you, like how like harsh you want that shadow to be. But I'm gonna do probably about that much. I'll take some off of that side too. And now I'm gonna do something similar for around the legs. So I'm going back to my brush, which I have set to be the round grain liner. And I'm gonna just draw some shapes to give this little area definition. I'll fill it in. Oops, my shape wasn't closed apparently, or maybe I missed it. Yeah, oh well, I'll just color it in. Sometimes it's easier just to color it in instead of like trying to find where the problem was. This leg is really close to that, but it's okay. So I'm just gonna, and it's okay that these are kind of connecting together because I'm gonna be erasing away parts of it. That's what's gonna happen here too. Do something like that. Fill that in, and then we'll do one over here. I don't know, something like that. There we go. All right, cool. So I've got some like kind of shadows defined now, and now I'm gonna erase away to make it look a little less harsh. So I'm doing that same thing where I'm getting my fine grain shader as my eraser and just erasing away. Kind of have to use a little bit of pressure sometimes. And depending on your canvas size, these brushes the texture might be more like bigger. They are dependent on the canvas size. So if your texture is coming out like really big because you don't use as big of canvas as I do, you can adjust the grain scale by going into your brush settings. So just tap on the brush, go to grain. And on all of these brushes, I set the scale to 100%. That should be 100%. So if you go down, that'll make the scale of your grain smaller. So look, see, that's like a lot less bigger, less bigger than this. So you can adjust the scale of the brush by doing that. I am gonna put it back up for my piece. Oops, I just did the wrong one. I'm supposed to be fine grain shader, scale, max. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going in now and just erasing. Now I'm going in between and kind of erasing away parts of that just to kind of make it a little more shady.
Which brush are we using as the eraser?
This was a fine grain shader from Texturific Shaders. We'll do the same here. Always zoom out just to make sure you're liking how it looks. This is just like another way to do shading, so there we go. Cool. I think that looks pretty good. I do need to add my little detail to his tail, so I'm just gonna kind of draw that in, a little zigzag. And I don't mind, again, if it doesn't line up perfectly. I kind of like that where some of the pink goes over the edge a little bit. So I will use this brush as an eraser though to kind of make these little corners more pointy because I'm into the pointiness. So I'm just erasing away to make them a little more pointy. There we go. Cool. All right, so we've got kind of some definition there. Oh yeah, I also want to do his little ears, the inside of his ears. So I'm going to do that same technique again. I'm going to fill them in like that and then erase away some of it. Oops, it's not quite lining up with this side of his head. There we go. Any questions while I'm doing this? Hope you guys are doing okay and following along. Go to my shaders. No, sorry. Where is it? Fine grain shader. There's a lot of shader brushes. Where the heck did it go? There it is. There we go. I just think it has a cool effect. There we go. Okay. all done with the kind of shading details.
Someone was just asking about how the transparency is working with the brushes and which brush was transparent.
It's not the brush that's transparent, it is actually the layers. So I've set the blend mode of all these layers to multiply. And that means that, so the orange is on top of the blue layer, and where those two colors overlap, it will be transparent, which I haven't done yet. And the same thing with the pink and the orange. So where they overlap, it's going to turn to red and be transparent. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I need to do his eyes, and I want his eyes to be white. So again, we're not trying to add in an additional color. Like white is not technically a color when it comes to printing. It's the color of the paper underneath. So we actually just need to erase some of the yellowy orange away. So I'm going to go to that layer. I'm going to go to that round grain liner that I've been using for everything else so far. And I'm just going to erase the shape of the eyes away. There we go. Okay. And now I get to color in his eyes, which I think I'm going to do in blue. So for that, I'm going to go to the blue layer. So the one with the cloud. I'm going to select that blue color. And I'm going to color in his little eyes, little pupils. And what I can even do is, because I also have this green color to work with, I think I might do the middle, like the little pupil, the actual pupil of his eye, in the green. So for that, I'm going to go back to my orange layer and grab orange, and I'm going to draw orange right there. Now I have the middle of his eyes is green because this orange and blue are mixing together to make the green. And now that I have the green, now I'm thinking even further, and I'm like, well, I could do like green grass under his feet because I know I have this green color to work with. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to go to, let's go to the blue layer. So to make green, we need to overlap orange and blue. So I'm going to start with blue. Again, I'm still using my round grain liner. I'm going to go ahead and select the blue. And I'm just going to draw in kind of like, I'm going to go a little further down. I'm going to draw a line. This will be just like the bottom of the ground. Don't worry that it's overlapping, and in parts we'll fix that.
Someone was asking, do you know why Procreate calls it multiply and not transparency?
Well, these layers, these are all different ways to be transparent. So that's one of the ways. And there's math reasons why it's called multiply. As the name suggests. So these are all ways to make layers transparent in different ways. So hope that helps. Okay, and then I'm just gonna like draw in some grass. You can do this whatever way you want. I'm just gonna kind of draw the little triangle shapes and then fill them in like that. And I can take another question if it's kind of slow.
So it was actually just saying, hey, don't forget to draw in little marks for the paw.
I noticed that, actually. I did forget that. Thank you for pointing it out. Yes, I'll get to those. I forgot that. That I was going to do in the same like red color as well. So, okay, so I'm drawing all that in, and then I'm just going to fill this in. So I can take any questions you guys have, since this takes like a little minute to kind of fill in all my grass. Any questions, Jeff?
Someone was asking, how did you come up with the idea of this to draw?
This picture?
Yeah, what we're doing right now.
Well, first of all, this was inspired by the prompt RAIN, which is today's Making Art Everyday drawing prompt. And I also, so when I was trying to think about what to do, like I originally drew just some clouds with some rain, and I was like, well, that's fine. I mean, we've been doing a lot of weather. I mean, the whole month is weather. But, you know, you get a little tired of just drawing clouds and stuff. And then I saw a picture of the wet cat. I forget where, probably on Pinterest. And I was like, oh, that'd be fun to do like a cat that's getting rained on. So you don't have to interpret these prompts like literally. Like just because the prompt is rain doesn't mean you have to just draw a rain cloud. And it's so, so cool to see you guys and what you come up with. And the way that you interpret these prompts. Like you get so creative, and it's so fun to see the way people kind of interpret the prompts in their own ways. So that is super awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely rain, but it's also like more about the cat in this case, and the rain is a part of it. So you can interpret the prompts in whatever way you want. Okay, so I'm kind of roughly doing it. Okay, so we've got some grass. It's kind of bothering me that it's like sloping up like that, so I'm just gonna adjust that real quick. I'm gonna go to my adjustments menu, liquify, and make sure I'm set to push. And I'm just gonna use that to like move it down, make it more level. That was just bothering me. So if you ever do that and you're like, I don't wanna redraw that whole thing, liquify is your friend, and you can just move stuff around. It's great. Okay, so now we've got the blue, and now we need to add in the orange so that we can make it green. So we're gonna go back to our cat layer, the one with the orange. I'm gonna select that color, and now I'm gonna do the same thing. And I could make it exactly, like I could select this blue and then just fill it in with orange. It would be like exactly the same. But I'm actually just gonna draw it freehand because I think it's gonna look a lot cooler to have it kind of like messy. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm just gonna go over and draw over it by hand. And I like that sometimes the orange shows and sometimes it doesn't. I think that looks really cool. So I'm just gonna go trace over kind of these shapes. And it gives me like just a different, like a really cool effect. Like that's the thing with this style of art. Like you can, since you're working on a computer, you get to, which is what an iPad is, you can make things perfect. But one of the reasons I love Procreate is that it's all by hand and it shows all those imperfections. And I think that's what makes drawing so awesome. All right, so now I'm gonna connect the shapes. And now I should just be able to, nope. I should just be able to fill it in. Maybe I do such a good job. Oh well. Here, I was hoping. I'll just fill it in this way. If you don't get your shapes closed, or if you're using a really textured brush, sometimes color drop won't work, and sometimes it's easier just to color it in than use color drop. Which I kind of like now because I'm getting all these little bits where I didn't quite color it in perfectly, which is what I was just talking about. And let me know if you guys have any questions as I'm coloring in.
What are you on again right now?
I'm on the round grain liner from Texturific Liners. Maybe I did better here. Yay. Okay, that was easier. We'll see if I can succeed in doing color drop over on this side. Yay, turn up there. Okay, that was a little faster. And then I know you guys were talking about his little paws, and I actually want his front paws to show in front of the grass. So to make sure that is happening, I'm gonna go to my blue layer and erase the blue where his little paws would be. So I'm gonna make sure I have the same brush as my eraser, and I want this to be in front. So I'm just gonna erase that away. And here, and now it looks like his paws are in front. So I'm taking out the blue just to make it plain orange. And now I'll go to my pink layer and get his little paw marks or whatever. There we go. I didn't forget, you guys. And over here, these are a little hard to see. Maybe I'll just have a little bit like that. It's kind of covered up by grass. Oh, and then the tail I also want to be in front of the grass too. So I'm gonna erase that part of the blue as well. So really you're just like manipulating these 3 layers, taking away and adding to them in order to get all the different colors and to make things look like they're in front of each other and whatnot. So another thing I see is I have this kind of dark blue purpley color, and I think it might be cool to add that to the bottom of the cloud, like a shadow underneath the cloud. I have pink selected now. So I'm gonna go to my pink layer. So the colors all need to be on their own layers. And then I'm just gonna draw like a shape here. I don't know, make it wavy up here, because I'm gonna do that erasing technique that I showed you guys a minute ago. I'm gonna go to the eraser and get my fine grain shader from Texturific Shaders. And I'm just gonna, maybe I'll make the brush size a little bigger. I'm gonna erase some of this away. Like that. Just to kind of give it like a cool little shadow, add some more of this. Like I love that the pink kind of shows just a little bit at the bottom. I can erase even more of this away to make it look even like less intense, this shadow. So kind of as much as you want, but I think it looks kind of cool to have that at the bottom. And it also gives it some nice texture and stuff like that too. And now that I'm like seeing this pink and this blue, I kind of think I want to add some of that down to the bottom here. Maybe some like little like mushrooms or something growing out of the grass. So let's start with the pink. I'm going to make sure I have my round grain liner selected. I think I'm already on the pink layer. Cool. And I've already got pink selected. So let's choose some cute little mushrooms kind of growing out of the grass. And we have all these colors to work with as we're making these mushrooms, but we're just going to start with one, which is the pink. There we go. And then one more little, maybe I'll make this one a little shorter. There we go. Okay, kind of like a bell shape for the mushroom. And then maybe we'll do one over here. Kind of going that way. And fill it in. Okay. All right, and now I want to add this color for like this part of the mushroom. So I'm going to get blue, go to my blue layer, and draw that in. And again, where they overlap, it's going to make this cool purpley color. And then I'm going to get that same brush as the eraser and erase some of it away so that it looks like the top of the mushroom, you know, the mushroom's going inside of it, or the, what's this, the stem is going inside of it. And I'll do the same over here. There we go.
Someone was asking, do you always use a stand to draw?
When I'm sitting at my desk, yes. I really like this one. I have a link to it on in my FAQ and the YouTube video description. I think it's Elevation Labs. It's very sturdy, it like doesn't move, and it's like really heavy duty, and I really like the angle. Like I really like drawing at an angle. It's really hard for me to do it flat. So I really like this. But if I'm on my couch, I'll kind of like, you know how these cases have a little triangle you fold up? I'll use that. But yeah, having it at an angle is really helpful to me. And then I'm gonna add some dots, you know, little polka dots to these. So I have this red color that I can work with. So to make the red, I just need to get the pink and the orange mix. So I'm going to select the orange. I'm going to go to my orange layer. And I'm just going to add some cute little dots there. And again, I don't mind if it goes off the edge a little bit. Like, I think that looks cool. I like the look of it, kind of just like where you can see the colors like that. So I'm just adding some little dots to this, like little polka dots. Awesome. Cool. So I can turn my sketch off. I probably should have done that a bit ago. So I think I'm pretty much done with the coloring, or actually down here. I'm going to do that erasing technique to kind of, let's see, I'm going to grab the fine grain shader just to kind of make the bottoms of these mushrooms kind of fade into the grass, maybe like that. There we go.
Someone was just saying, Lisa, you hate purple. What's going on here?
I will use purple if it's part of a different composition, and like this is like a very bluish purple, so you know, I'll use it sometimes. I'm not a total hater, you guys. It's just not my first choice. Like it's in this. Okay, so I'm done with like all the coloring and like adding that, you know, the detail and things like that. And there's one more thing I'm going to do to this illustration to make it look even more like screen printed and less like flat digital color. I'm going to get rid of this.
And real quick, we are going to lose Instagram in just a minute.
Oh yes.
And so we want to kind of make sure you guys. We're actually going to restart the live stream here in just a second.
Yeah, Instagram times out after 1 hour. We're getting close to done, but we're just going to restart it. So join back in. I'm just going to restart it right now. Okay, one moment, everybody else. Please bear with me. And we'll get Instagram back up. And okay, we're back to live on Instagram. Hopefully everybody comes back in. So again, to repeat what I just said was I don't need my little color chart over here, so I'm just going to turn that group off. And I'm going to do one more thing to make it look a little more authentically printed and not just like flat color. Like you could stop here if you wanted, but I think this is going to look really cool. So I'm going to go to my eraser and I'm going to go to a different brush. I'm going to use the fibrous paper shader. So it's this one here, fibrous paper shader. It's got kind of like a really nice fine grain with some cool paper texture. And I'm going to use a pretty big size brush. And I'm just gonna lightly erase away, just not too much. I'm really doing it very lightly. The heavier you press, the more like you'll erase like that too much. So just do it very lightly. So I'll do that again. So I'm just erasing away just to kind of give it a little bit of texture, because when you print on things, like you can see it really well on here, like some of the white of the paper shows through. So that's kind of what the effect that I'm going for here. Another brush from another brush texture maker, like I have these press fine and press rough brushes, would also do a really good job of this, but I'm just gonna stick to this fibrous paper shader. So I gotta make sure I get all the spots where there's any orange, which means the grass too, because there's orange there. Now I'm gonna go to the blue layer and do the same thing, just erase a little bit away everywhere. So you really start to see that there. And down here where there's the grass, there's also, and it's cool because when you start doing it on layers, you see the other colors pop through, which is also really a cool effect as well. Now let's do the pink. And I'm just erasing away a little bit everywhere. Yeah, like that on the tail. Well, that's already got a lot of texture, so I don't really need to do it too much there. All right, and then that's pretty much it. The only other thing I'm gonna do is go to my actions menu, canvas, crop and resize, because it's gotten a little off center now. I'm just gonna scoot it over like that. So if your composition isn't quite centered or enough for your liking, you can use this crop and resize feature to move it around a little bit without having to move every layer. So there we go. Crop in. Cool. And there is my little screen printed kitty all done. I think he's really cute. Like a little chubby wet cat. So this is all done now. It's a really fun effect, as you can see, to kind of play around with these different layers. And it's really just the 3 layers, the 3 colors, and we created all these other colors. And there was even this other color I could have utilized, which is this like kind of browny dark color. If I wanted to use that somewhere, I would just have to put the same, put the same thing on all 3 layers. So if I wanted to make his mouth black, it's already pink over orange, so I just would need to add the blue to it. So I can just grab this blue and grab that same brush and just draw. It's a little hard to do, but so now I'm getting that 3rd color if I wanted to. I kind of like it the way that it was, but that, you know, that's an option. If you wanted to add like that darker 7th color into your work, you could do it like that. I kind of like it just red, so I'm going to leave it like that. But that is an option that you can do to add in that 4th color, like I did on this piece with the like darkest brown.
How did you do the fibrous again? Was that an erase or was that?
Yeah, that was an erase. So I went to the eraser, I got the fibrous paper shader, and I basically just like very lightly erased it over each of these 3 layers. Very lightly. If you go heavy, it'll erase too much. Let me get rid of that. So do we have any questions about anything that I just showed you before we move on to questions about other things?
Someone was saying that you need to sign the art piece.
Oh, good idea.
The funny thing is that all of the others those are actually signed pieces. They are. They're all.
Let me see. I always do try to, like, if I'm going to print something, I do try to make sure to sign it, which my little LB is is what I usually do. But you know what? I want to show you something cool. I'm glad you said that, because this is what I usually do when I sign a piece that has multiple layers. I wish I had the love that we did. Oh, there's another letter. I don't know. We ran out of those.
We have like the original good one, don't we?
This is my signature. LB. And I could do it in one of the colors, or I could do it in all of the colors, and it will be like that dark color, and it'll kind of have this like cool overlapping effect. Now I'll do the pink. Grab it right there. So that's a fun way to do a little signature, and you get like all three colors, and it looks like darker. So there you go. For you guys, I signed it. Any more questions about this before we do like a general Q&A? Any of the techniques we went over or questions about that? I'm happy to answer you guys. No?
Not yet. Someone was just saying, hey, I'm struggling to learn to draw after a long time. Can you suggest somewhere to start? Okay,
we'll get to general questions one sec. I just wanted to pull this up. So I would love to see what you guys made. So if you are doing artwork from this tutorial and you're posting it to Instagram or whatnot, please tag me so I can see it, because I love seeing what you guys create from the tutorials that I make. That's what makes it all worth it for me. So, well, there's many reasons, but you can tag the hashtag Bardot brush. Bardot brush is my Instagram for the brushes, and I am just Lisa Bardot if you ever want to say hi there. So feel free to tag me in your artwork. I would love to see it. And then we can take some questions now. So
yeah, we've got a few. This was asked earlier, and I had them pulled off. How many years have you been doing digital art?
Well, that's a big question, because probably since college. I did layout and stuff in, well, I don't know if you'd consider that art. I did yearbook in high school. And then in college, I learned that graphic design was a profession. I didn't know that until I got to college. I was like, oh, people get paid to design ice cream containers and things like that. And I was already majoring in photography at the time, and I decided to double major in photo and graphic design. So that's when I started to use Adobe Illustrator and do that kind of digital art. And then as far as this kind of digital art in Procreate, with an actual pencil and not with a mouse and stuff, 6 years ago was when I started using Procreate, right after my oldest son was born. Jeff got me an iPad mini, and I found this little paintbrush stylus. And then I started getting into all the apps. And when I found Procreate, it was oh yes, that's what this is what I need. And that just the ease of all of it really got me actually doing it on a consistent basis. So I think there is something to be said for, if it's easy and accessible for you to do it a lot, you will. And, you have to be passionate and want to do it. But if it's difficult, you have to pull out all your paints and make a mess and you have to clean it up, that was more daunting to me, especially after I had kids and stuff. That's just no, I don't want to do that. But this, I can sit on the couch and do it. So my skills have increased incredibly because I was able to do this. And I can also translate those skills to physical media as well, painting and things like that. So you're not limiting yourself by just doing digital art at all. It's a skill that you can apply in lots of different ways in art.
Someone was asking, do you do lessons every month, or what are you doing for these lessons?
Well, when the whole shutdown started, we were doing it 5 days a week for 2 weeks, and then we were doing it 3 days a week for 2 weeks, and now we're kind of at 2 per week, and that's, I think, a bit more manageable for us. Yeah. Since
we have a baby due sometime around May 11th.
Yeah, we've got this baby coming, and we're going to take a little bit of break from the live videos once that starts, but I've been enjoying them so much. I do want to keep it up.
Yeah, we'll probably be keeping it up, it's not figured out, but a minimum of monthly or bi-monthly is we may keep them up after.
Yeah, we'll see. I really, really like doing them. I like this form of communicating with you guys and making tutorials for you guys. So yeah, there'll be more to come. I can't promise a set schedule, but I do want to keep up on it consistently because it's fun. I like it.
Someone on Instagram was asking, what are you using to prop up on your iPad? We have a link to all of that stuff on YouTube. So if you go to the YouTube channel, all the descriptions of all the live videos have everything that we're using.
And I also just updated my FAQ at bardotbrush.com/FAQ. So it has links to all this stuff that I use. So I really like this, Dan, though.
Yeah. Someone's asking about this style. Do you always start with cyan? They said
cyan, magenta, and yellow. I know what you mean.
That's why I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, I try to pick colors I know are close to that because those are the primary colors. And if I want to get the full spectrum, I need to have some degree of those colors. And I don't know if you missed it at the beginning, but I started with those 3 colors and then I adjusted like the yellow to be this more orangey yellow. The blue is not like a pure cyan. It's like more cooler. And then the pink, the magenta is the one I left just being magenta. So it's good to start there and then adjust to get what you want. But if you have a particular color palette in mind, like start with that, see what colors you get when those overlap. Like for example, like this, you can also do a 2-color piece. Like this it was a 3-color piece, but I kind of like the way it looks with just 2 colors. So that 2 colors become 3 colors, 3 colors become 7 colors. The more colors you add, the more other colors you can get. But there's nothing wrong with doing just like a 2-color piece and getting that 3rd color where they overlap. So yeah, just play around. Pick a dominant color, start there, pick a secondary color, see what you get when they overlap, when you turn on multiply, when they're on, those 2 separate layers, and just have fun experimenting with color. It's really a fun way to kind of experiment with color and also like limit yourself to a color palette, which is another way to make yourself more creative. We're going to be exploring limitations later this year in Making Art Every Day, so I'm looking forward to that with you guys. I have a month planned of like where we're going to be imposing limitations on our artwork, which helps you be more creative. So look forward to that.
Then Olivia had this question actually in the very beginning. I want to make sure this got asked. How did you come up with the idea for Making Art Every Day?
That's a great question. So I mentioned about I didn't really start getting into Procreate till after my son was born. I was a wedding photographer. Like we have a wedding photography business, my husband and I. And like I was starting to kind of feel the shift of not wanting to do that as much and like wanting to get more into artwork. And then when I got the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil, which was a gift from Jeff, I got it for Christmas. And then when New Year's came around, I decided I was going to draw every day that year because I really wanted to like improve my skills and like kind of find my style, which is something that's forever ongoing, let me tell you guys. But I wanted to just like get better at it. So I decided to draw every day for a year. And I was pretty good about it. I got most days. And then that year I became pregnant with my daughter. So this was 3 years ago or 4 years ago. And it was a very hard pregnancy, lots of emotion. And because I was drawing every day at the time, a lot of those emotions came out on screen, paper, what have you. And that was really amazing for me because I didn't really have a way of expressing myself. I was not very good at expressing my emotions at that time. And that really helped me a lot. And it made a huge impact on my life, not just like with drawing skills, which I love, but also just like my mental health. So that's why I decided to make Making Art Every Day. In fact, if you want to, I still cringe a little bit at this video, but you guys will probably like it. If you go to my About page and you go to Lisa Bardot, and then you read my full story, you can read a little bit more about this. But yeah, that's one of the images that came out when I was pregnant. I gave a talk about this whole journey and like being vulnerable, and it's all about being courageous. And I even wrote a song that I sang at this talk. But you can check it out. And I was definitely having to be very brave when I did that talk. So that's kind of like the full version of that story and like kind of what led me to create Making Art Every Day, because I think it's so beneficial to people to have that kind of outlet, that form of expression for themselves. And this Making Art Every Day is really about building those skills. So when you have something to say, you have the skills to say it, basically. So, yeah.
Just coming back maybe onto the Procreate side for one question. Concerning large projects with many layers, what is your process when you run out of layers? Do you flatten most of your layers, save, and then do the details?
Yeah, if it's, yes, I look and see if there's anything I can merge. If I'm like, I don't really need those to be separate, that's probably where I start. If I'm unsure, like if I'm going to regret merging them later, I'll duplicate the whole piece in the gallery mode and then merge stuff together, because then I can always go back. But once you merge things together, you can't unmerge them. So duplicating a piece when you're not quite sure is a good thing to do. And then as a last resort, if you really need to, you can go into crop and resize, resample your canvas and just make it a little bit smaller. And if your canvas is smaller, you get more layers. So that's kind of like the choices I make if I am running out of layers.
And someone's asking, with printing digital art, the colors don't always come out the same on paper.
That is true.
I want any advice?
Well, you can put your canvas before you start into cmyk mode, which was something I was playing around with teaching you guys about, but let me show you real quick. I'm going to create another canvas the same size, which this one was 5,000 by 5,000. And then you go to color profile and you can put it into cmyk. Normally it's in RGB, and RGB gives you those really bright saturated colors because screens can do that. Paper cannot. But cmyk is what the print process uses, which again, remember we talked about cyan, magenta, and yellow. CMYK is black. So let me create that. I'm going to basically move all these layers into a cmyk canvas. So this is kind of will be cool for you guys to see. So I'm going to select these 3 layers. I'm going to drag them out. I'm going to, with my other hand, go to gallery, go to this new canvas I just made, go to the layers, and then drag them in. Most people don't know about this trick. It's really cool. And it doesn't carry over your blend modes. So that's why this looks so weird right now. So you have to turn on the blend modes again. Now, I don't feel like this is an accurate representation of what you would get in print. Like, it would look way more colorful than this. But this mode is supposed to help you like get a preview of what it would look like in print. But with these colors, especially like cyan is one of the colors that will print pretty bright because it's a pure ink color. So, take it or leave it. I usually just work in RGB, and then I know it's not going to be as bright when I print it. Like, I just know that in my head, so I can't. So I'm expecting it to be not as colorful and bright when I print it. So, and it's not, I'm not super stickler about it. I just know that that's the reality. That's what it is. It's going to look better than this. This doesn't look like yucky. So yeah. But it's not going to be as bright as this. That's a good question. In theory, if I merge down, it shouldn't affect, like it should commit kind of these colors. And if you look at the preview, you'll see the green color. Sometimes it doesn't work, you guys, and I'm not sure what the deal is. So I merged them all together and nothing changed, which is what's supposed to happen. It just basically now this green is green and not like a mix of colors. Sometimes it like deactivates blend modes when you merge them together. I don't know why. I don't know what situations that happens in, but it should stay the same. Let's just say that. But if it doesn't, I don't ask Procreate. I don't know. Okay, I unmerged them. Maybe one more question before we sign off for the day.
I just lost stream on Facebook.
Well, we're still going on YouTube if you have one more question. And again, YouTube, you guys, is probably the most reliable place to watch these. Instagram times out after an hour. Apparently, we just lost Facebook, so.
Yeah. We're semi back, but we're still live on YouTube, thankfully.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, lots of we got a lot of thank yous, and thank you guys.
Yeah.
And really, the thank yous go back to you guys for joining in, for learning with us.
Yeah, it says, like I said, I have a lot of fun making these videos and working with Jeff to do them together. It's really fun for us. So thank you for being here. Again, I am Lisa Bardot. My business is Bardot Brush. You've seen me use some of the brushes that I make in my art projects here on Procreate, but you can find them at Bardot Brush. And then, of course, we've talked a lot about the Making Art Everyday project, which I highly recommend joining in. Like, that's all completely free. There's a lot of really cool content that comes along with that, and a really amazing community, especially in our Facebook group. If you guys are still online, shout out to the Making Art Everyday Facebook group. You guys are so awesome and supportive of each other. So I recommend joining in, sharing your art, asking questions. Like, it's a really awesome group of people. So I hope you can join us again. We have another live coming up on Friday. So I think we're going to be doing like a painterly style is what I kind of got planned. So that should be fun, completely different than what we just did. So join us on Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. And I will see you then. And I hope you guys have a great couple days.
Can't wait. Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye-bye.